Igor. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Hey, Kay, how's it going?
I'm doing great. I'm enjoying this lovely weather that we're having, the last of it, and hoping to get my weekend started. And so I'm really excited to have this conversation with you, and hopefully you're going to get your weekend started soon too.
Luckily enough, as a brokerage manager, I'm in the office Monday to Friday. My agents are the ones who are losing their weekends working with clients, and hopefully they'll be successful, especially with this good weather.
That's the life they've chosen, right? Um, so I know you and I have had a chance to chat before, and I would love for our viewers to be able to kind of understand you and where you're coming from. So I know your background in hospitality is really, really awesome and had a huge influence in how your real estate career turned out. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you for that introduction. I appreciate it. So we met right as I was getting out of hospitality and back into real estate. And my story is a little bit complicated, but I started working in restaurants when I was 18. I progressed very quickly into a management position, and I was lucky enough that I was always working for large corporate restaurants, and with only a small time spent in like mom and pop shops. I got into real estate in 2013, so I was 23 years old. I got my license as a salesperson, and then very quickly progressed into the broker role. I wanted to get my broker license as soon as I got my real estate license. That was very important to me. And work coming from hospitality, I was always a restaurant manager, focused on operations, and in particular, training new staff and opening new restaurants. So going into real estate, I wanted to do the same thing, but I realized that obviously you have to learn the sales aspect. You have to be that kind of foot soldier who's out there doing the open houses, doing the showings, negotiating on behalf of your clients. And now I'm lucky enough in 2022, fast forward, 15 years of hospitality and almost 10 years of real estate. I'm the real estate brokerage manager.
Sort of found the perfect blend, right?
Luckily enough, yes, I'm very lucky.
Sounds awesome. So, I mean, you've had a great career as a real estate salesperson, as a real estate broker. Tell me tell us what sort of things and why you've chosen to move away from active, agent or broker duty and focus more on the operations, on the management side of things.
So like I mentioned before, I wanted to be an active agent because I wanted to learn the mechanics of the operations of real estate. That being said, coming from hospitality, there's a very definite career path. You become a server, then you become a supervisor, then you become a manager, maybe a general manager, etc. In real estate, when I got into it, I was like, okay, I'm a salesperson. I've done a little bit of real estate work, so now I'm going to be a broker. And then what? Am I going to be selling homes and dealing with clients the rest of my life? So I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it. And to be honest, I actually left real estate for a small period of time because of the fact that I do not want to do sales on a day-to-day basis. That's just my personal preference. Coming from hospitality as a manager and recruiting and training people and just having those responsibilities on a day-to-day basis is kind of what I enjoy. The ability to come in, have a set path, have a set direction, and dealing with the operations for me is enjoyable. Being an active agent, there's so much focus on sales,
Oh yeah.
marketing, networking, and there's always so much going on that sometimes you don't get to do what you want to do, which is real estate and dealing with clients. Stepping into the managing broker role and seeing other younger agents do it, I enjoy that more than actually doing it myself.
You like watching people succeed. I think there's a huge reward that comes from that as well. But that's not for everybody either, right? I mean, we all have our talents, I think, and it's a shame not to share them with other people. So, and there's a huge sort of failure rate, right? So I think I don't know what the statistics are. Do you recall?
Yeah, and you know what? I'm one of the part of the statistics where 33% of realtors quit real estate within 1 year of being licensed. They do that because they're not making the money, or they don't have the path, or they don't have the direction. And even worse, within 5 years, almost 87% of people quit real estate and they don't go back into the industry. for such a lucrative industry where you could potentially be making six figures and working less than full-time hours, why would people want to leave? For myself, it was one of those things where I didn't enjoy the sales aspect. I didn't enjoy the door knocking, for lack of a better word.
Right.
And I enjoyed, filling out the forms, doing the marketing, doing all those things. There are agents that I train and recruit that all they want to do is the sales and the door knocking, and they hate the operations aspect.
Right.
And they
Sure.
will be successful as realtors, but I just didn't want to do that for myself.
Yeah, 100%. I think, to add to your point, a lot of agents fail. You said they don't have enough direction. They also don't have enough mentorship, right? It's an industry where, from what I understand, when you pass your exams, the big picture and how some of the transaction works, but you don't really have anybody to ask the questions of, hey, what if I have to do this? How do I make an amendment? How do I do this? How do I file that? What happens if something goes wrong here? And so there's a lot of uncertainty. These are big transactions, obviously, right? So you want to make sure that your clients are happy. So there's a lot of anxiety on both sides. So I think mentorship is definitely a big part of that, and I'm sure your agents are very grateful to have someone like you that they can go to and ask these questions. You work for a fairly new brokerage, and it's a small one, but it's growing from what I hear. Let's talk a little bit about some of the challenges that maybe you're having, especially coming from hospitality, which is so big and broad, right?
What are the challenges that we have? Oh Lord. So I'm lucky enough that when I joined the brokerage, I knew what I was getting into, for lack of a better word. I work for two amazing brokers, Paul and Gabe. There's a lot of transparency. There's no tricks. There's no secrets. It's very much, this is what we're about. Either, you want to come work with us. Do you want to be on board, or are you, looking in another direction? I think that I'm a little bit jaded. I have open restaurants. Okay, and I've done it more than once. So it's one of those things where I knew that there would be a lot of challenges, but every day was a challenge at first.
Right.
Every week was a challenge at first. Every month, I've only been here for 7 months, but it's been 7 challenging months. The reason I say that is because when you're starting up a new brokerage, you want to succeed. And the guys that I work for, they wanted to succeed. And so we really had to sit down the first 2 weeks that I was here and figure out how we're going to do that. I'm very proud of the fact that I say we're operating a business. We're not operating a charity. Even though we as the brokers do charitable work, in 2021, we donated 1,000 kilos, a ton of food, literally a ton of food.
It's amazing.
Yes. But at the end of the day, we are a business. We need to make our ends meet. We need to balance our budget. So how do we make money? How do we succeed as a real estate brokerage? And how do we make sure that our agents succeed? I really have to emphasize that the agent success is part of our business model. We want to make sure that whatever challenges we're facing as a brokerage, it's not being passed on to the agents. If we're struggling to do social media marketing because for our needs, that doesn't mean that the agents should be struggling.
Right.
Some of the challenges were simple as, who are we? What is the brokerage? What does it mean? Do we have a motto? Yes. Do we have a vision statement? Yes. Do we have a mission statement? Yes. That took 2 weeks of sitting down and going through all the brainstorming ideas. And my bosses are executive decision makers, and I put that in quotations because it is a team effort. But right. I'm an operations person. I bring them 2 or 3 ideas. They have to choose one. That's what we're going with. And it is business. Sometimes I like my ideas and I love them and I'm personally invested in them.
Right.
More than I should be. And the ideas are like, nah, we don't like it. I'm like, okay, it's business. We got to move on to what the team thinks.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've opened restaurants before. That was challenging. The amount of things that have to happen from day 1 to day 37 of opening compared to a real estate brokerage is a little bit different. Here, the biggest challenge was, how do we succeed? How do we make sure that we're making money?
Right. In such a competitive industry too, right? So, I mean, similarly to the restaurant industry, but also there's good similarities. People have to eat, they go to restaurants, people have to buy homes. We don't have a choice, right? It's either that or we live with our in-laws or under a bridge or anywhere else, right? So the choices are there, but they're not always great. So, or I'm going to have to cook, which nobody really wants. So and so those are some of the challenges, and they are important challenges, of course. I'm glad that it sounds like you're overcoming them as a team, which I think is paramount. Let's talk about some of the most rewarding things in your role. What do you love about it? What are the things that really kind of bring you a lot of joy?
What brings me joy in my current role? I think I said this before, and I mean, I don't want to repeat because, it's just one of those things where I enjoy watching people succeed. As a restaurant manager, I took a huge pay cut when I went from serving to managing. As a real estate brokerage manager, I took a huge pay cut from a salesperson. The unlimited potential in real estate sales compared to a salary position like mine, why are you doing it? I mean, I'm the one walking around preaching. It's a business. We got to make money. Then why am I taking a pay cut? There's
Right.
no logic to it. What it comes down to was I don't want to do sales. Me, Igor. I don't want to do sales. I like operations, and I'm very much a spokesperson. I really do believe, for example, if I have a pre-construction project that we're focusing on, we will sell that. But when it comes to resale, I don't really care for it. One of the most rewarding things is when we get a new agent on board, one of the things that we focus heavily on is onboarding and recruitment, which we're going to get into. And obviously you as a human resources professional love that kind of stuff. So you'll love it. And I know that you're going to enjoy what I'm going to show you with my checklists, but it's almost like a social contract. When they come to us for a recruitment session, we tell the agents, here's a checklist of everything we promise to do for you to get you set up for success. Are you on board? Do you want to do it? So once we offer them that, hopefully they'll be interested. And we really care about that. So once they sign up, we go through those steps, and even something as simple as getting their logo ready. Right now, I have 3 agents that we recruited in the past 30 days. We just got them licensed and with Rico and registered with Treb. 2 of them I have to make logos for, and it's that excitement where they get to brand themselves, where they might see, a little bit of hope for the future. Because let's be real, they spent a lot of time at Humber studying. They spent a lot of money at Humber studying. They spent a lot of money registering in the past maybe 30 days. So now it's the excitement of, here's my logo, here's me as a real estate person, here's me rebranding and creating a new version of myself and going maybe from a blue collar to a white collar status and things like that. And not gonna lie, it's when they get their first deal done. When I get to give them that first commission check, oh my goodness. They feel like a realtor at that point. Until you get your first commission check, you're no one. And then when you get your first commission check, you're a realtor. Congratulations, you got to file taxes.
And you have to pay taxes, which, nobody, we have to, right? That is awesome. And so that pre-boarding brokerage checklist that you were just talking about, do you want to maybe share that with the audience now?
Of course.
That's okay with you? All right. Let's take a look here and see if we can share that. There we go. It's a little bit small, but I'm sure we can share it with the audience as well. And if anybody wants a copy of that, we can probably share. I don't think there's anything overly proprietary there. Is there, Igor?
Other way around, I would want every single person in Ontario to have this. There's 82,000 registered realtors. I hope every one of them gets a copy. It's one of those things where I'm very proud of this, even though it's a very simple PDF. It's very much a social contract. You're going to come to the brokerage. We're going to do a little bit of a hand-holding situation, and we're going to get you through these steps. So something as simple as registering with Rico will help you do it. Getting registered with Treb will help you do it. Register for your HST number, get it done. And the professionalism. We have a really good connection for headshots. We have great logos that we make in-house. We have branded emails. We order your business cards for you. And we go above and beyond, right? For example, if you don't know anything about social media marketing, we will set it up and automate it for you, because not everybody's a tech nerd like I am. So this is something that we offer all of our agents and something that we're very proud of.
Fantastic. I love that. I love a good checklist. I think everybody knows an HR checklist are the things that saves your sanity. So I'm a big checklist person. So thank you for sharing that with me. I know that once agents graduate, they get their license, right? They join the brokerage, and there you come out of the gate and you say, here's all these learning materials that I want you to learn. And they go, whoa, 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 whoa. I've had enough. I've had enough learning. I've had enough tests. I've had enough. I just want to sell a house or help somebody purchase a house so that I can start making money. I've already spent a lot of money and I've spent a lot of my time. So how do you get them to go through training and sit down and continuously do that, even as they become more and more successful, to the point where maybe there's a little bit of an ego and they kind of want to say, Igor, I think I got this. I've done 10 deals already. I don't think I'll need to learn anything else. I think I got this figured out. So how do you go about engaging them when it comes to training and continuous professional development?
Ooh, that's a very difficult question. I'm a little bit annoying. First things first, I will continue to bother. I will continue to ask. And I know it sounds weird and I'm not trying to be rude or condescending, but we are adults. You should be able to do your job. There is a financial benefit to it, aspect to it. Right now, for example, I'm doing the admin work for the brokerage. If an agent doesn't submit their paperwork in a timely manner in full, they're not going to get paid. It's very simple. We are a real estate brokerage. We are overseen by RICO, which means that we have certain rules and regulations that we have to follow, and there is oversight. So I tell the agents, I'm like, listen, I'm not going to be the bad guy. I'm not Big Brother. I'm not going to rat you out to RICO. But at the end of the day, do what is necessary. Learn how to be a realtor. Make sure you're following the whatever the guidelines are. And at the end of the day, this is what your duties and responsibilities are to your clients. You're making 2.5% commissions on multi-million-dollar property and purchases. Right. And also, that doesn't work. When I tell the agents that you got to do it, they don't listen. At the end of the day, I understand where they're coming from, and I understand their frustration, because I wouldn't want to sit down and read any more mundane, boring, 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. We do in-house training, we do in-house coaching and mentoring, and we provide reference materials. We always tell people, I'm doing the training, I might speak a little fast, they might not be able to catch up on everything that I'm saying. So I tell them, if you miss something, here's a reference material. We have a Trello board. We have all of the training materials on there, which I'm sure we can show to everyone. That's perfect. Thank you. No problem. This is a training board that we have for all of our agents. You're going to see, the things that I'm trying to preach to our agents. This is our vision. This is our mission. This is the motto. We have an equity statement. And then we also have all the different forms that we have. With the new agent onboarding, where it says the transfer checklist and the onboarding checklist, this is part of what I showed you before. And then we have the starter pack. Again, the Trello that I use is interactive. So, I tell them, take a moment, check off on the checklist as you're going through, get that satisfaction of going through what needs to be done on your steps to success. And again, we have the training schedule that's there. It's available for all of the agents. And I tell them, here's module 1. If you would like to come to the in-person training, here it is. If not, here's the reference material. We're available. Thank you. Here's the training schedule. So we're available for the agents. I give them different ways to learn, because everybody learns in different ways. And we are a boutique brokerage. We have the opportunity to really give them that, personalized onboarding experience that they might not get in other brokerages.
Yeah, 100%. I love that. And I love that it is actually interactive, because I find that it makes such a big difference when somebody can go in and, I remember when I was, working in retail even, And not even that long ago, having to hand somebody an employee handbook with all of the training and all of the screenshots and stuff like that, that was literally 176 pages long, and saying, hey, you've got a week to finish reading this. And it just giving it to them was the daunting task, never mind reading this entire thing. So similarly to you, I'm a big fan of Trello, and I love how you can add documents and get people to be able to check off things that they've completed, as well as set timelines for themselves and get reminders of, hey, you're supposed to do that yesterday, or that deadline's coming up, you should really take care of it. So big fan of embracing technology, I think, when it comes to training and onboarding and all of those things. And I think it makes it a little bit more, or hopefully less anxiety inducing for a lot of people, right? Where training is available at your own pace, as we've seen with a lot of colleges and universities, where there's a lot of courses that are self-paced nowadays. So as long as you give somebody a deadline and say, hey, I want this completed in the next 2 weeks, then they're a little bit more in control of how that happens. So I certainly enjoy that. I think that's a really, really great idea. And again, big fan of Trello. So you definitely got me there. You've got my buy-in. So you and I obviously are on the same page, I think, here, coming from very high turnover industries and hospitality. I come from retail. And so, recruitment and onboarding obviously are, in my opinion, key to retention, right? And overall success of any industry, whether it's real estate or hospitality. Can you share some of the sort of best practices that you bring from hospitality and how they've helped you in real estate?
So interesting you mentioned turnover. It's funny that you're coming from retail. I'm coming from hospitality. Statistically, for hospitality, the turnover rate is 80% in 1 year, which means that theoretically, within the course of 2 years, you have 1.5 times the amount of staff that you started with and having to train. The thing with hospitality, training staff is very expensive. You'll have to pay them an hourly wage while you're training. Theoretically, you could have somebody on staff for 3 weeks training. That's 40 hours a week of labor that you have to pay. With real estate, it's a little bit different. We're not necessarily paying our realtors because they're not on staff. They're independent contractors. So,
but it's your time.
Well, that's the thing. So I think what it comes down to is, first of all, it's my time. I'm on salary. I'm very busy and important. I have a lot of information, and I'm always looking for people who want to do the work to succeed, so I can give them the skills. I think what I was trying to get to regarding, onboarding is just that there's so many agents that quit within that first year, and there's so many agents that quit within 5 years. And if we're talking about onboarding and retention, maybe retaining people in the industry is as much as important as retaining them in your brokerage. Because what happens if they join your brokerage and after a year or two, they're like, well, screw real estate. I'm going to stop getting licensed because working for your brokerage, I didn't make any money. And a lot of real estate people, they leave a brokerage. Very rarely are they transferring. They're just leaving the industry. I think that focusing on showing people like, hey, this is a long road to success. It might take you 3 years before you get to a consistent income cycle, and maybe a 3 to 5 year cycle where your lead generation and your networking funnel are working on their own, where you can really think of yourself as a realtor. I explain to them that it's a long game, and we take the time to show them that we've given you all the tools and we've given you all the training, and we've literally given you all the skills necessary. So it's really not you not having the skills or the tools or the training. I know it sounds bad, but some people are not meant to be salespeople. I'm not meant to be a salesperson. Even though I was financially successful in real estate, I didn't enjoy it. Sometimes after a year or two, I tell people, like, if you haven't been happy with what you're doing, maybe you do want to get into an admin role. Maybe you do want to do this. Maybe you do want to do that. And retaining people in your brokerage is just about making sure that you have a company culture that obviously celebrates them and their personal successes and giving them the training that they need. Something that I like doing is messaging the agents. Obviously, I keep tabs on them, but I also message them when there's something to be recognized for. It could be as simple as, we use Instagram to post to social media. One of our realtors did 6 leases, and she was dominating the social media. And I didn't want to share it with the rest of the brokerage, but I just took a picture of it, screenshot it, sent her a message being like, you know what, I'm really impressed. You're dominating the brokerage social media as if you're the only person here who's actually working. And they
Yes.
appreciated that simply because like, okay, somebody notices the fact that I'm really busy.
Right.
Even though they're coming to me to get their commission checks, it's like, hey, high five on doing those deals. High five on getting 6 leases done in 1 month. Like that's very impressive, right?
Mhm.
Retaining, I think, is a very personal thing, whether it's a company culture and you focus on retaining the staff or just celebrating their successes.
For sure. And I think, at the end of at the end of the day, adults are very much just big children, right? We like positive reinforcement. We
Yes.
want to be told that we've done a great job. We want that pat on the back. Even if we know we're doing a great job, because obviously she realizes she's doing something right with those 6 leases, right? So, but I think it is important. And I think creating that culture of recognition and sort of continuous support, even if the agent is struggling, it's not a matter of, hey, Igor, you didn't do, even 1 lease last month. It's a matter of, what can I do to help you? I'm here to support you. Where are you finding you're struggling the most? And that creates a very different culture as well, right? And HR is all about culture a lot of the times, right? In a lot of companies, HR is focused on kind of creating that glue that keeps it all together. And sometimes that's very challenging depending on what the state of culture is at the moment. But there's definitely, I think people are people at the end of the day. It doesn't matter what industry you're in, right? We all, I think, like and respond well to the same sort of stuff. You mentioned something interesting, and it's, you were here to help agents. You're there to help your agents to become more successful. How do you know, or what are sort of the telltale signs that you've seen in the past that an agent will be successful?
So a lot of people will come up with like a witty one-liner or some sort of personality trait, or I've narrowed it down.
A disc pattern or a disc profile, right? There's a lot of that going around too.
All joking aside, personality assessments, yeah, they'll tell you that this is a leadership personality and they're going to succeed. I narrowed it down to 3 things, really. Okay. Do the work. Okay. And do the work.
Right.
I know it sounds silly, but just do the work. If you're coming to me and I tell you, you got to post to social media XYZ, and then you don't do it, you didn't do the work, you can't come to me and say, well, I don't know why I'm not networking as much.
Right.
If I tell you, like, you got to do an open house, and before you're doing the open house, you have to do all of this marketing, but you didn't do it and your open house wasn't successful, did you do the work? Unfortunately, it's one of those things where there is luck, there's acts of God and circumstances and the universe lining up, but there's also a lot of work that goes into real estate. Prior to going on a showing, did you print an Excel spreadsheet with your 6 showings in a row with notes that you have for the clients? Nope. Okay, well then you didn't look prepared for the showing. So there is no trick, there's no secret to success. In my opinion, it's you have to do the work.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like, you don't become an Olympian if you don't get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to practice, right? And that's every day, all day long. You're sick, it doesn't matter. You get up and you kind of just go through it, right? It's and I'm not promoting any sort of an unhealthy lifestyle where people are working 24/7. But at the end of the day, it's entrepreneurship, right? And you're absolutely right. I don't think everyone's necessarily cut out for it, but everyone's capable of it if they want it badly enough. And that piece of the puzzle is, are you willing to put in the time and the effort to get there, right? Are you able to recognize your areas of opportunity, things that, I'm not great at social media. I'll be completely honest. I'm either going to get better at social media or I'm going to hire somebody who's good at social media. Those are my 2 options, right? And either way, it's not cheating. It's, if you hire somebody to do it, that's okay too. But I think it's understanding and recognizing, right? And moving forward.
I agree. And, as long as you get the work done, because I think a lot of the agents, what you were saying before, they might not know how to do it. And it goes back to company culture. We have a very open door policy where I tell them, like, you want to do social media marketing, you want to do Facebook and Meta ads, come to me. I will either set you up or do it for you. But please don't try to do it yourself and then give up and then don't do it at all. Like, that's the kind of, going back to company culture and just what holds the glue together.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate, you taking the time to chat with me today. I hope that you're extremely happy with your career choices. It sounds like you are.
Very happy.
And you get to go and enjoy your weekend now.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy with the brokerage. We are doing our best in our first year of operations. We're founded in 2021. We're growing in 2022. I know for a fact that I found myself a very comfortable home, and I do have a lot of agents that I do care about making sure that they succeed. So hopefully you'll see us out there in the real world, maybe one of our signs.
Absolutely. And I know they're very lucky to have you.
Thank you so much for your time. Have a good weekend and take care.
You too. Thanks so much. Bye.